Welcome to today's team training. Today we are concentrating on the third and final part of a series that we're doing on the Money Max account. And this is on the backs of other parts of building and recruiting, marketing, all the things that are designed to help you build a business that is a win-win-win, a win for you, win for your partners, win for your clients, everybody that's involved. Not over the last 2 weeks, but over the past few weeks, we've had two sessions on the Money Max account. We've had a basic, which is just why the Money Max is important and why it matters in what we do and why it matters for the clients. And then we did an intermediate, which was, more of how the Money Max account worked. It was a bridge version of a demo just to kind of show you around how the menus connect to create the action plan and how that action plan takes the step-by-step financial GPS instructions that get your clients to that desired endpoint, whether it be total debt freedom or whether it be leveraging equity and properties to continue that portfolio. So today, what we want to concentrate on, like I said, is the final part of the three-part series about the Money Max account. And this is the advance. So today, what we really want to concentrate on is, what is this all about? Well, it's integrating the MMA with the liquid life insurance contract or contracts. There's a few that work. We also want to show how this approach creates arbitrage opportunities. And then finally, we want to highlight the dual benefits of paying off debt and building future assets. Remember, too many people have too much debt, not enough wealth. We can compress time frames and get both sides of the fence taken care of, or at least slices out of the retirement or wealth pie by doing this advanced strategy here. So understanding arbitrage and offset vehicles. Remember, we have choices. We always start with the basics of how the MMA works to make sure that people understand the basic foundation and function. We don't want to be talking about something that's over and beyond their capability or where they're at in the learning curve. So when you really want to connect this and make the key points, what is arbitrage in financial planning, or in our case, in the debt to wealth conversion? What is that arbitrage? Well, quite simply stated, it's the practice of earning a higher return on the interest credited to your account and your accumulated value while paying a lower interest rate on the borrowed funds. Same thing a bank does, right? Takes your money, puts it in savings, pays you X amount, puts it back on the street, loans in various forms. They make the credit spread. You just remember, in step one of our two-part conversion, you are eliminating the bank's profit. In step two, you are replacing and becoming the bank. Really, what we're talking about in this advanced strategy is the combination of step one and step two simultaneously happening at the same time. And then that creates a scenario where we're redirecting cash flow from a single-use money MMA strategy into a multi-use money MMA strategy, and with wealth-building vehicles like the liquid life insurance contracts. And this is extremely important because we've been taught single-use cases of money. Why have we been taught that? Because it is the best benefit of the financial industry to take more and more advantage over us. This is a little bit about, when somebody becomes an MMA client, they're going to get some additional coaching. They're going to get additional education to make sure that we just don't send them off with a piece of technology and say, good luck. Through that process, they're going to receive, like I said, some more education. Part of that education is on the offsets, whether they're using checking savings, lines of credit, whatever they might have. We're going to make sure they understand each offset opportunity so they can make an informed decision about which is going to be best for them. And when given this type of information and education, many of your clients will want to see what the liquid life insurance contract looks like as an offset. Remember, savings, that's a single use case of money. If you're putting your money in savings, you're using it at a desired period of time in the future, let's say to pay off debt, well, then you've saved it, you've used it to pay off debt. Where is that dollar? It's gone. It was used for its purpose, right? And we always look at two different scenarios, best case scenario and worst case scenario. What's worst case? Well, if life totally blows up on a savings account, it's your money. Nobody's going to come after you. On lines of credit, we typically use a home equity line of credit as the example here. If we use that, you have to have equity in your property and then good credit to qualify. This is a recourse loan. What's the advantage of a line of credit? Getting a head start. You're not having to manufacture those savings, right? You're getting to borrow that money on the front end and then pay it back. But this is still a single use case of money. We borrow it, we pay it back, it's used for its purpose, it's gone. Now, in life's worst case scenario, if life totally blows up, this is a loan. They're going to come after you, and they're going to do so in an attempt to collect their debt. If they cannot do that, they're going to charge it off. And guess who picks up from that point? IRS, the worst person to owe, right? In checking savings, in lines of credit, if you're successful using that offset in the MMA, that's great. You've done what you really wanted to do, which was eliminate your debt, cancel the interest, save you time and money. You cannot create an asset from using these two offsets. Why? Because it's a single use case of money. There's no arbitrage there. When you're looking at the liquid life insurance contracts, which they have to pass, tests to make sure that they will work for what we do. It's a non-recourse loan. What does that mean? Well, the contract that you have is the collateral. So that policy cancels, lapses, cease to exist, those loans cease to exist. What are we doing here? We are using our money, we're putting it into a life insurance contract, and then we're using that money as collateral to take care of one of the rules of the bank, which is OPM. We're going to use other people's money. We're going to use the insurance company's money to pay off our debt. And what that does, it creates an asset. It creates a credit spread. It creates future retirement income from what we're doing in step one automatically, which is eliminating the bank's profit. By doing that with an arbitrage contract like that, we can simultaneously, once again, use that same dollar to cancel and earn interest. So once again, you guys, this is not where all contracts are created equal. And this is extremely important that you understand, your clients understand, your partners understand. The best money warehouse for purposes of past, present, and future is specific and tailor-fitted permanent cash value life insurance, but it's got to pass. And that's why we have different things that we look at to make sure it would work for your client. So if and only if it passes the macro and the macro and the micro litmus test for their needs. Don't think that any of these contracts out there can work for this. A majority of these contracts will fail these tests. So what we do is we use what we call the smart contract insurance. And really, what is that? What's a liquid contract? What does a liquid life insurance contract means? Well, it has really no surrender. So the money that we can put in can be simultaneously pulled back out in the forms of loans, not our money, but the insurance company's money. But also in those contracts, you have the typical advantages as well, where that cash value can be accessed tax exempt. So whether we are paying off debt, taking loans to do that, whether we're taking retirement income, regardless of what the macro tax environment is in this country, these contracts can be, or their cash inside these contracts can be accessed tax-free. You've got the liquidity. Remember, with a non-surrender contract, with a liquid insurance contract, you've got the liquidity for emergencies, opportunities. What does opportunities mean? Well, it could mean debt payoff. It could mean you have crashes in different markets where assets become cheap. So you're compiling money to use it for specific reasons, but always, always, always retaining that original money. And then you have the dual purpose benefits where you have protection and growth. Remember, if you've got somebody on a money max plan and they've got 6 or 7 years to be completely debt free, during those 6 or 7 years, if they have income disruption because of some type of a health issue, we've got a way that the whole thing doesn't blow up into financial chaos by using things like living benefits. So you've got traditional protection, traditional growth, plus the way that we use these contracts for advanced debt payoff strategies and arbitrage. So this is the process of creating arbitrage. It's not hard, but understand within the steps, you've got to make sure that you're always doing the best for the client, which means that you're evaluating from several different points of view. Step one, we do a debt analysis. Now, what really is in step one? Step one involves some upfront education that gets them to the point where they're actually fill out some data worksheets to see what their reports look like. If the reports look good, we'll run them into a demo. But the debt analysis is extremely important. Why? Because number one, if they cannot become an MMA client for one or more variable reasons, then it doesn't matter what the other back half of the advanced strategy looks like. Can't take them on as a client, or they don't want to become our client, then all of that is secondary. So we have to make sure that we can take them on as a client. They're interested and committed to becoming a client and seeing this through. If we do this and take them on as a client, step two really revolves around the install and setup. So we're going to take them in and we're going to make sure that their account and their program is set up accordingly. Why is step two, install and setup, extremely important? Because you can't go from a raw analysis to sizing this thing for purposes of the liquid life insurance contract. Why? Because when you get into these programs, people are notoriously going to be missing some stuff they didn't have on the original savings report or the presentation. So understand that action plan is created from the budget, the accounts. There's a report section that we introduce to them later. Once you've got everything calibrated and set up correctly, now we can actually move into creating the life insurance contract. And that's going to be we have different tools that we use to make sure that we understand, but we make sure that we get that life insurance contract calibrated to the point that it's going to have the debt paid off in the time that we anticipated, and the cash flow that goes in and out of that is correct according to what the Money Max account has planned for their trip, whether that be 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 12 years, however long their debt payoff is. So you're creating a life insurance contract. And remember, inside those contracts, you still have everything that's going to help protect them with a traditional umbrella of benefits, whether they have premature death, they have that inner circle that are counting on them, it's got a benefit. If we outlive our money, many seniors have to pick today between food and prescriptions, terrible place to be. So we want to make sure that our money lives as long as we do. And then once again, we talked about this. If we get hurt, sick, or ill along the way, during our debt elimination time, we've got money to continue that process and program. Outside of that, we use it for whatever it is that we want. So we do have the benefits of traditional permanent life insurance, but you also have the ability, like I said, when we run the debt through here, when we create these advanced strategies, what we make sure that we do, just like, let me give you an example. With our savings reports, we always tell somebody on the discretionary income, hey, if you have between, let's just give an arbitrary example, 300 and 600 left over per month, you always want to come at the low numbers so we can build you a foundational report. We want to do the same thing here. We don't want to jack up interest rates. We want to use interest crediting rates at a foundation, what we expect to happen going forward, use current loan rates to create a foundational wealth report that shows them the arbitrage opportunity, any overfunding after the debt elimination, and then whether they want to pull out chunks of money or recreate that old school pension like our grandparents or great grandparents had, shows them 20, 25 plus years of income streams. We have to build a foundation so that if we show this to them and it looks good, we're pretty confident we can work with them to get this done. And then based on historical performance and averages of what's happened over the last 25 years, we expect it to perform better than that. So we create a foundation, expecting it to really perform better than that, but giving the client some understanding of a basic foundation. Nothing, if the stars all align, that's how you create something that's going to be disappointing for someone. And then step 4, you redirect the cash flow. What does that mean? Well, if they have a savings account, the offsets are going into savings, and we tell them to earn the highest interest savings that we possibly can while it's sitting there waiting to be deployed. Then it gets deployed to the debt as a transfer offset. In the home equity line of credit, it's a little bit different of a strategy because it's a open-ended loan, which means the interest is based on the daily balance. So you're running everything through the HELOC, your expenses, your income, everything, trying to push that daily balance down. Here, what you're doing is you're putting money into the life insurance contract, having that accumulated value build up, and then you are redirecting the money, not your own money, but in the form of a loan from the life insurance company to pay off the debt. So you're still, and guys, make sure that you understand this for yourselves and your clients. You're still doing the exact same thing with the MMA in terms of following the financial GPS instructions. The only thing different here is where it's going and what it's actually doing. So the answer right here is the circle of wealth. Remember, as we are not thinking like a consumer anymore, we begin to think like a bank. What is this? This is our life insurance contract. This is our money warehouse. So we are just like a bank. We're going to build up a capital reserve right there. Once that's in place, we keep that. It'll be earning interest for long periods of time as we keep this contract. Anything over and beyond the capital reserve builds up. We're going to use that as collateral. Once again, not to borrow our money, but to borrow other people's money in the form of the insurance company. And the money that we quote unquote put back on the street, debt elimination, asset accumulation, whatever it might be, we're going to make a credit spread off of that. So we're always retaining our original money, borrowing other people's money. That's what the wealthy do. That's what banks do. That's what we're trying to incorporate and adopt for ourselves and our clients. It creates a money trail. So think about that. If somebody's paying off, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt over the next years, and they're able to create a credit spread from that and a money trail from the money they're going to be spending anyway, what does that do? What creates an asset? Creates future income from the money they were already going to be spending anyway, which is huge. So understand, if you meet people, they have deficiencies on the retirement side, they have problems on the debt side, but we have some discretionary healthy cash flow. We can get a lot done by compressing time frames and using these advanced strategies with the MMA. The key benefits. So what's it going to do for your clients, and then what's going to do for you and your partners? Because at the end of the day, like I said, this is a win-win-win for everybody involved. So you should be in a position of power and feel ultra confident going out there introducing this to people, because for your clients, remember, the MMA is going to pay that debt off fast. Nothing creates the most linear equation than the Money Max account. And now you have the added benefit of the wealth creation by using arbitrage and these insurance contracts. Long-term financial security and flexibility through arbitrage, cash value growth, and the protection that these policies provide your end client. And once again, a clear path to retirement funding and legacy planning. What's going to do that? The Money Max account. It designs everything. It gives you the step-by-step instructions, so you don't have to feel your way through here, and you don't have to worry about unknown roadblocks or obstacles from not understanding your defined path. So for your clients, bunch of value. For you guys, partners, establishes you as a trusted financial planner with a holistic approach. How many financial advisors out there that sit down with people even mention their debt? They're always talking the investment side, trying to get assets under management, et cetera. For life insurance agents who are trying to sell life insurance, here, you separate yourself. You have a differentiator because you're talking about debt. You're talking about a lot of the building blocks that you're covering in this financial plan by using the MMA with the selected offset. And it differentiates your practice by offering those advanced wealth building strategies. So you're not talking about the same thing that everybody's talking about. And when you can differentiate yourself, you no longer really have to compete with the crowd because you're having a different conversation, which is falling on new ears. And then it builds that lasting client relationship that drives referrals and future business. Whether you're using the MMA or whether you're using the MMA with these contracts to create what we call MMA Pro, this is exciting stuff. And as value is being recognized, it's very easy at that point to ask, who else do you know and care about that needs to know this information? So here's what you guys should be doing. If you're interested in this, which I love this kind of stuff, putting the pieces of the puzzle together, it's kind of exciting. What you want to do is you want to build a personal plan. What does that mean? It means get used to looking at some of this stuff. Create a customized strategy for a hypothetical client. Identify a sample debt scenario. Calculate the monthly savings generated by the MMA. And then, if you don't know how to do it, work with somebody that does. Design a liquid life insurance contract contribution schedule, and then project the outcomes over 5, 10, 20 plus years to see what that would look like. You want to get used to using these models, using the MMA, using these liquid life insurance contracts, because the more you start to understand about the potential power of these combined together, the more exciting it is for you. And then when you can go out and not package this stuff up and hard to understand, but break it down into elementary-like language for people to understand, you will attract the right type of clients. Remember, the key takeaways from this: MMA combined with this liquid life insurance contracts creates a powerful financial strategy that you should be proud to offer people. The approach offers the dual benefits of debt elimination and wealth creation at the same exact time. That's powerful. This strategy positions you as a leader in financial planning. The action items, review. If you guys have, yourself or your other agents or partners, if they've got networking, if they've got lists of already existing clients from whatever they do, review the list to identify prospects for the strategy, whether it's introducing the MMA, whether it's introducing some of these contracts, or a combination of both of these. And then schedule follow-ups. If you guys have MMA clients, touch base with them. You should be touching base with them already, but see how things are going. Do they need help? And would they like to look at the possibility of inserting this offset into their existing strategy? And then refine your knowledge of the MMA and advanced tools. The more you learn, the more you earn. That goes for a lot of things, but especially things like this, because A, you have to learn it, and then B, you have to package it up in an elementary-like way, because people don't understand what you're talking about. They're not going to ask you questions. They're just going to paralyze themselves, retreat, fall back, and drift away. Remember, we're in the business of converting debt to wealth, whether that's as simple as getting the debt eliminated and not having to pay interest, but earn interest, or whether it's as complex as the advanced strategies of using these contracts. That's what we do. That's our mission. And that's what you guys should get behind, because once again, if you're bringing products and services into the marketplace, A, does anybody care about them? B, what's the need? Here, we've got a big solution, or a legit solution to a big, big problem. Hope you guys got some value out of this. I'll post this with the other, and we'll create those trio of business model component series to help you guys out. That way, as you have people come in, just direct them over here. They can learn as much as they're willing to learn. Thanks, guys.